Hello, friends. Robert Bevan here, author of the Caverns and Creatures series of comedy, fantasy novels, and short stories. With me is Sam West, and today we'll be talking about the spell Commune with Nature. All right,
Meditating on a log.
This is another one of those. I just want to straight up ask the DM some questions, but not exactly.
Actually, it's more direct than that, which I actually appreciate. So unlike Commune, which is like, hey DM, what's the meaning of life? This one is, where are there trees? Where is there water? Where are there minerals? Is there a big lich nearby? It is a specific list.
Show me a map.
Yeah, exactly. This is Google Maps, not Google, right? Is kind of the difference between
that's a good
Commune versus Commune with Nature.
All right, what exactly does it do?
So, okay, big important word. This one of the most important words in Dungeons and Dragons. This is a ritual spell. 5th level of divination ritual. For druids or rangers, so for druids, that is cast in half of a minute, and or in this case, 11 minutes. You should never ever cast this for a minute cast time. If you can cast something in a minute, you can spend 11 minutes casting it. Almost always. You briefly become one with nature. Oh, you gain knowledge of the surrounding territory. You have to be outdoors. You can't be like in a construction site or something. You can be in caves, but that limits the area to 300 feet.
Whereas the normal
Where if you're outside,
range...
it's 3 miles.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, I guess. Anyways, and it just doesn't function in construction sites. So like towns, cities, doesn't work. You got to be in nature. The gist of it. You pick 3 facts and gain general knowledge about subjects related to those areas, such as terrain and bodies of water, such as prevalent plants, minerals, animals, or peoples, such as powerful celestials, fates, fiends, undead, or undead, or elementals, influence from other planes of existence in the area, buildings, things that were created in the space. And you get to pick 3 of those. So you can be like, I want to know, is there a big angry lich in the area? Is there a powerful undead? Is there a big safe source of drinking water? Is there a nearby town within 3 miles or 300 feet if you're underground, which is just say it doesn't work underground if you're going to make it 300 feet, honestly.
Not too many towns down there.
Yeah, and like even if there are, like if you're in the Underdark or something, it just is. There's not going to be. If it's a town within 300 feet of you, you'll hear it.
Yeah.
Like that's a football field. Anyway, Commune with Nature, unlike all the other commune spells, is one I hate the least. This feels like you shouldn't ever need it, but if you're tired of making survival checks, if you're tired of using a map you purchased at a prior town, you've got Commune with Nature now. Neat.
Yeah, this one doesn't bother me like it does, like the other ones do. This is just if you're playing on a roll 20 or something, it's like, hey, just erase some of that darkness on the map.
Yeah, basically. I DM'd at a convention yesterday, and I didn't recognize just how much DMing online has changed how I DM, to the point where like my descriptors are way worse than they used to be as far as like painting the mental image of things. So I'm just like, this is what it looks like. That's what that person looks like. This is what this person looks like, and just showing PNGs and stuff. Commune with Nature is just like, is there an undead? Yes, there is, and this is him, and he's in this space on this map that I can point to with the little pointer. That's Commune with Nature. It's very fine.
Are we done? Jesus.
This is in the bucket of spells, the commune spells. You have some choice words about communes, right?
Well, like I said, that's how I started this. Usually I do. I don't like the whole. It takes me out of the immersion. Hey, dungeon master, tell me what to do. This isn't like that though. This is just.
This feels different to you?
Yeah, just show me some more map. That's I'm fine with that.
Sure.
I mean, unless there's like an objective that I'm supposed to reach, that if it's like if the terrain itself is a puzzle, and this is just a cheating way to solve it, then yeah, I wouldn't like that. But that's never the case.
Not in this edition anymore. I find that exact case is where my only real problem with Commune with Nature is like, oh, in the games where you're doing, like if you're doing, for example, Tomb of Annihilation, that is a hex crawl across the jungles of Chult, and it's deliberately supposed to be like a adventure survival game. I've run it. It's actually quite fun. I would recommend that as one of the few adventures that they've produced that I'd be like, yeah, this is worth picking up. I actually used most of the things in this book. I would even recommend finding more. Like, there's a bunch of DMs Guild stuff about like, oh, here's the secret city or whatever that someone else third party produced. Plugging third party always is my priority. In any case, this spell, once you get to 9th level, is just like, oh, I now just know where the next city is. I just now know what's within 3 miles of me all the time. This is something that, because it's a ritual spell, you can just sit in the back of the cart and be like, yep, I'm consistently casting this over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. And there's no cost to it. And just have perfect information about the entire surrounding area around me as long as I'm above ground. Which is, in a game that's supposed to be about getting lost, a game that's supposed to be about navigating intense jungle environments, where you can find, oh my god, surprise undead, this Yuan-Ti lich guy creature thing has been hiding 300 feet below us this whole time. It kills some of that. It also, like, it points it out sometimes earlier than the DM necessarily wants, but this is happening at 9th level for druids, so it's not like by that point you probably gone through most of the adventure anyway. To me, this just deletes that entire tier of play. Like, you're no longer able to have adventures where getting there is part of the puzzle, getting there is part of the journey. You're not making survival checks to find things anymore. You're not making survival checks to locate influences of otherworldly things. You're not trying to not get lost anymore. The spell says, no, we have map quests, we know where we're going, we will get there. Which is, I mean, it's convenient. This is a spell that says, we've done that already, let's do something else now, in a very clear way. I think it's probably fine at the tier that it's given out, especially to be like, yeah, the low levels survival's definitely good, upper levels maybe we do something else now. I will say this kills a lot of features for Ranger. Like, if you're playing PHP Ranger, oh boy, do you just no longer have, like, your first level features don't matter anymore. You can just throw those out. Natural Explorer, favored enemy, get that garbage out of here. You got Commune With Nature, you don't need that shit anymore. Oh, pardon. And that's a bummer. But a lot of martial features get replaced by spells in the upper tiers anyway. I can't be that upset with it.
All right, it does. I mean, it gives you 3 miles. So,
Yeah.
I mean, you could say, hey, that 3 miles and there's more jungle in every direction. You don't really know. I mean,
True.
jungles can be pretty freaking big. You could be casting it over and over again and still going in the wrong direction.
I think that would be a lot harder just because you're gaining so much information about the space, right? You're learning detailed environmental factors about all of it. Basically, if you consider the amount of time it takes to travel a mile, like 20 minutes, that's 2 casts of this ritually, right? And that ran 20-minute miles, a pretty quick pace. If we slow it down to say caravan speeds like 30, maybe even 40-minute miles, then you're getting
also traveling
multiple
through
uses of this.
thick forest or jungle, then
So let's slow it down even more.
Yeah.
And that really only empowers the spell, because then you're like, okay, at this slow pace, I am learning every body of water. I am learning every kind of plant, animal, and people in the area. I'm learning all of the extra elemental energies coming from outside the world, wherever they are. I'm learning about all of those. Influential points from other planes of existence, you just know where all of those are every single time you cast it. Buildings in the area, you will identify the moment you're within 3 miles of a building. All of that can come very easily compiled together to be like, hey, aren't we supposed to be seeing signs of X, Y, or Z? Let's try a different direction, and very clearly and quickly get you back on course if you are going off course. 3 miles is a huge amount of space to get information in, and it is not too much extra work to take the gigantic boatload of information of everything within 3 miles of you and say, does this make sense, the direction we're going? Are we following the right tracks? Are we seeing signs of civilization? Are there things going outside where they're around where they're supposed to be, right? And if not, okay, I make the one survival check that points us back in the right direction, and we're back on track now.
All right. Well, man, I don't know. I don't have much else to say about this one. This is not something I've ever used.
I think most games don't ever need it. I think most games your DM isn't planning for a whole suite of mysterious encounters, and don't like planning an event and like adventure like this is a tremendous amount of work, in that you're going to be making a lot of stuff that you're not even going to be able to use because they're not going to go that direction. They're not going to stumble into this space. They're not going to come into the dozen of unexpected encounters, because that's part of the unknown exploration, right? Really good DMs will be able to quickly put things in place, but then the Commune With Nature feature just becomes non-existent then. If the survival, if they're there's always a railroad in Dungeons and Dragons, regardless of whether players feel there is not, regardless of a DM says there is or not. There's a direction the DM pushes the players into, whether they want to or not. And that railroad will always be at odds with spells like Commune with Nature, will always be at spells like, or features like survival checks and exploration things, because there's a planned course of action. There's only so much mental load a DM can handle at any given point in time. For that reason, a lot of players and DMs specifically, there is a planned course. Even if that planned course might look like getting lost and going off and finding things they're not supposed to, that's prepped. That's planned. That's where they're supposed to end up at the end of the day. Commune with Nature is not something that players end up really ever needing, because they're always going in the right direction. The DM doesn't want them to waddle around in the back and make a bunch of survival checks until they're like, okay, 45 minutes later, after us wandering around in the forest for no good reason, we have found where we're supposed to go.
Yeah.
That's not exciting or engaging. That's not things people like to be doing. People just want to go and do the thing that the DM prepared, fight the encounters the DM prepped for, do the social encounters, meet the people, be in the cool, wild, fantastical places, go to the puzzles. And that happens on the road to the end, right? And that road is prepped, regardless of the sandbox atmosphere that players and DMs tend to say they like. All that is to say, Commune with Nature doesn't really need to exist, because players are going to get where they're supposed to go. It's just how this game works. And outside of very heavy preps, inside of very heavy intent of feeling like exploring the wilderness, the spell just, like, you don't need it. Like you prefaced, you've never cast it, you've never had a reason to cast it, and most players never do. A map in town is going to be all you're going to need 99% of the time to get where you want to go.
Yeah. I don't know. I remember playing when I was younger. I used to like just walking out in the wilderness and exploring it, but then, more trees. Another leopard jumps out at me. All right, fine, let's go do what we're supposed to do.
Yeah. And like it, even in the situation, right? Even in the circumstances where you are the table, that like, DM's very clearly putting us to go to the plot. We're going the opposite direction. Screw the DM. We're being antagonistic deliberately. We want to go see if we can screw up the plans. I promise you, after a single improvised adventure that is out over there, your DM coming up with something on the fly, then whatever your new hook is planned the rest of the way. There's a new track that you're going down that is railroaded. You have a new goal and objective.
Well, I mean, the thing is, even if you're deliberately going against what you're supposed to do, you still know what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, also true.
Even Commune with Nature. All right, well, there's the road to the town. I'm not going to take it.
Yeah. I think this spell, because the ritual will always be a 2, this spell is so harmless. It will occasionally be very useful. It'd be like, and your DM will know you have this when they do this. You'll see like there's an evil undead in the area. You have to find it. And they go, aha, I have Commune with Nature on my prepared list, so I will ritual cast that. And your DM will be like, good job. You picked it up. You did the thing. I threw the softball right over the plate and you knocked it out of the park, buddy. So proud of you. Otherwise, you'll be like, there's a trail of bones going up to an eerie tower. What could ever be in there? Is what you would get without Commune with Nature, right? So.
I'll be generous. I give it a 3. There are things you could find, like maybe DM just isn't feeling it today, and you commune with nature. All right, here's some map, and there's a thing you can go check out over there.
Sure. Yeah. Here's a different new adventure that I came up with on the fly that you can go do instead.
Yeah,
sure.
Let's open up some options.
Sure. That's a very innocent use case for it. The spells, I think this is Commune at its best. I think this is what the Commune spells should be. Specific, targeted, and useful in niche circumstances.
Yeah.
At best, they help expand the world a little bit. And that's what this is.
All right. Well, that was Commune with Nature. Thank you, Sam, and thank you, everyone, for joining us. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Thank you for watching. If you found this helpful, informative, or entertaining, I'd really appreciate it if you hit the like button below. You needn't smash it. A gentle tap will suffice. If you want to see more videos like this, subscribe to the channel. And make sure you check out the links in the description, where you'll find my Caverns Creatures series of comedy fantasy novels, Sam's full review of the spell, and other fun things.